Dota is an inherently unfair game. Counterpicks and impossible matchups are in every game, and it can feel extremely stifling. So in this video, I'll be leveling the playing field a little bit, and showing you not only how to draw against the Vipers and Huskars of this world, to maybe even win versus them. Now, every Dota game starts the same way. Walking out of base, getting runes, and waiting for the creeps to meet. And there's a lot of little advantages that can be eked out all throughout that period. So we're going to go over everything chronologically. As soon as you know your matchup in draft, you can start thinking about these things. Being proactive is going to be a huge advantage. Can you smoke on them and get a first blood? Look at your and their heroes and think about if they have any worthless rune heroes like Ogre or Enigma. Crappy dudes with no spells. And do you have any Giga Chads like Tusk, Bat, or lads with strong killing spells? If you take a cute path and wrap around his 5, you'll get a kill very, very often, especially since blood grenades have been added. So taking advantage of that and making sure you get the last hit is a great start. Now, if you do get that last hit, consider the hero your laning burst and decide what item to buy accordingly. Versus Huskar, maybe Boots lets you pull waves better and be cheeky, or potentially an Orb of Frost and fight back, depending on the hero. Versus spammy hero like Lesh, get a wand, etc. Don't just autopilot buy what you were going to buy. Think on it a little bit, even if that bottle you already had queued up is still correct. After you've tried your kill shenanigans, there's still some extra things you can take advantage of. And the first is dewarding their ward. When you're in a melee versus rain matchup, this may sound small, but it's actually a huge deal, especially for orb walkers or spam hitters like Huskar, Viper, and Lina. Them not seeing you uphill allows you to get hit way less, spend less gold on regen, and generally be able to vibe it out way more. Now in very high OMR games, people will get sneaky with where they place their ward, but if you're at a lower OMR, you can kind of just place the sentry somewhere very central on the lane or by their side, and you'll almost always get the ward if it's there. And even if you don't get the deward, it means he won't see you on the hill, which is a huge deal. And the final shenanigan before the actual laning starts is blocking. It's not a skill that's practiced very often, but it goes a really long way, and there's a few parts to it. Firstly, if you aren't actively getting a kill, you want to be around the rune area vibing it out until it looks like the coast is clear, and then immediately run back to mid to block. The further back you get to block from, the better. Now people block different ways, but the way that worked the best for me was double tapping my hero hotkey and holding to lock my camera on me. Then spam clicking back and forth in a pretty wide breadth, not too in front of you, but in a sweeping motion with some S pressing when necessary. The reason for that is if you do it the other way, where you click more centralized and spam S more, it's difficult to spam S enough to keep as much contact with the creeps. And the way you have a great block is just as many individual contact instances with the creeps as possible. And when coupled with putting your own sneaky ward and dewarding theirs, you can see when the creeps are coming and stop blocking accordingly to let the wave sit on your hill, which lets you play the whole first wave on your terms, not theirs, giving you a genuinely massive advantage. It is completely lane changing. Now the lane is started, and we've gotten through our little tricks, and the rubber is meeting the road. What now? Well, the next most important info to understand is spacing. What is spacing? Well, the majority of very hard matchups will be a melee hero versus a ranged hero. They can spam you, smack you, and harass you over time because, well, they're ranged. So the way to deal with that harass is to keep yourself out of range as much as possible. If taking a trade is bad because they're stronger, or not possible because they will kite you, if you only move up to hit the creeps when it's time to last it, that will massively reduce the amount of time they can actually hit you, keeping you high HP for longer. Now, while that's a pretty good benefit in of itself, there are a few more too. It'll also piss them off a lot and make them keep moving towards you to hit you and very likely overextending at some point, either walking past the creeps or even up onto your hill, where you can then turn and run them down. Ranged heroes' biggest advantage over you is their ability to kite you. Outside of that, melee heroes are much stronger. You've got Stout Shield, generally higher damage, higher armor, and higher HP, including higher HP regen on average. So if you actually get to hit them, you will blast them and you will win this trade. Not to mention, if they've overreached and you turn at the right time, they have to then run away and you get to squeeze a couple more attacks in before you reset and begin spacing again. This is one of the most powerful tools in hard lanes, and playing this game of cat and mouse and not letting them hit you for free is your most important tool for playing these hard lanes. Now I want to show you a lane I played against Amor. We'll watch it play out for a while because I think it's quite telling of a lot of things here. I walk back relatively early to block because if the wave is on Huskar's hill, it's a disaster. I block pretty well, and the wave's in a pretty good spot. Now, it's Ember against Huskar. Oh no, oh me, oh my. Huskar's not actually that much stronger than Ember on wave 1, especially when the wave is on your hill. Now, he does have a ward on his hill, which I know about because I haven't dewarded it, but it's not the end of the world. But I start out by spacing him a little bit. I delay his attack on me some. He's getting kind of kited, kind of annoyed, but I'm not forcing things too much. I'm not trying to hit him. I'm just CSing. I pull aggro here a little bit because I have some time to do so. Pull it back into the range creep, and Huskar's a hero that doesn't have a nuke. So if I get the creeps back into this range creep, I can actually just get it denied very easily. This moment here, I actually don't right-click him because I want this melee creep to keep hitting my range creep so it gets into deny range and I can get a free deny, which is what happens in a little bit. He's getting zoned off. He has these two creeps on him. This is an instance where pulling aggro can be really good. He doesn't have a nuke. I do. I'm actually stronger than him level 1. Even though it's Huskar versus Ember, I'm winning the first wave because I won the block, and you make these small little plays. Now wave's on his hill, I pull aggro. Wave's coming back. Cool stuff. I pull aggro again. He doesn't really want to move up here because he doesn't want to hit me and tank creeps. He's already half HP. I've got a resource advantage on him off the first wave. I can keep abusing that. Now the wave is split. That's super chill for me. Now he's going to keep pulling aggro in these creeps and not give me the last hit. I'm going to toy with him. There's going to be a little dance. And this is more spacing. If I let him to get too close to me, hit me a bunch, this becomes very bad very quickly. So continuing to dip back and forth. You can't do it perfectly. We're not AI, but it is a huge deal. Now, I'm pulling into the side. You see this pulling to the side thing? It's really, really important. Now, once again, the wave is back on my hill. Now, it's going to come in a tower a little bit, which is my bad. I should have managed the creep slightly differently. If it's not in tower here, it's really, really nice. But even still, I'm spacing him. He gets impatient. He comes too close. I beat him up. I've got, look at this, 10 and 3 to 5 and 2. I'm doubling him in CS. Now, he's going to get all 3 of these probably, but I can still contest him under tower here because he's low and he's got CS to worry about, so he can't really hit me very much. I can toy with him here now. I don't want to take too many right clicks. I'm not going to kill him here, but you can mess with them and continue to space them, piss them off, make them waste time. Shouldn't be underestimated the psychological impact there is in Dota. Now, I kind of throw the lane here a little bit. I let him hit me 5 times, which grieves me really hard because it starts costing me CS. And this is where, once again, spacing is a thing that you practice over time, and even if you're playing really well, will not always be perfect, but those first 3 waves are a testament to how well a lane can go that is typically considered borderline impossible. And that's solely off of good mechanics and a good block and an understanding that Huskar's not actually stronger than me on the first wave. I'm still up in CS, even after that disaster of a moment there. I would lose all my HP. La-di-da-di-da. Waves coming under my tower. I get more CS. Now the wave's on my hill. I'm still being chilling. Even though Huskar is level 3, which is typically doomsday for a melee hero, I'm still fine. Okay, now it's going to start getting rough. There's not much I can do about that. But I'm still okay. I can keep sliding CS. I still have good HP. I'm not in kill threat at all. Now, my item build is bad. I bought a Blightstone instead of boots. That's not good. And this is where I'm going to stop getting CS because it's Huskar. Realistically, I should have boots and I should run here and pull the wave. But up until this point, I'm ahead of him in CS. In net worth, I'm a little bit down because I've eaten tangos and he hasn't eaten any tangos because he doesn't take damage because his hero's really good at laning. But I'd say this is a pretty good result for one of the worst lanes in the entire game. And very much tied into that is understanding that no lane is black and white, or one hero is always stronger than the other. Odie beats you in pubs because he hits you for free and he spams you over a long period of time. But on early waves, he's got a very awkward right click that's kind of hard to CS with, and no nuke to secure CS for free. So you can punish him very hard early before his spam kicks in. Spacing people is great, but so often people play more scared than they actually need to and give too much respect. Just because they're supposed to win the lane doesn't mean they actually will, and it also doesn't mean they're supposed to win it the entire lane, just parts of it. You need to make them earn it and prove that they actually can win it. The mentality of going into every lane trying to win it will make you a much better laner, even lanes that are bordering on hopeless. It's also always important to keep in mind that the framework of all laning, even hard lanes, is last hitting. If they're wasting all this time chasing you around Tom and Jerry style, missing CS, while you space them and last hit, suddenly you'll be up a lot of gold, and the lane dynamic will shift greatly, and you keep taking good trades. Don't get sucked into their black hole of sacking CS for harass. Get the gold and outplay them on a moment-by-moment basis. Now, the next biggest part of playing hard lanes is pulling aggro. It's a concept that everyone knows about, but most people don't understand the paths of how it will play out, so let's start tackling that. Pulling aggro is a great option if the wave is too far up and you want it closer to you. Running up, quickly aggroing, and running away will slowly move it towards you each time you do it. If you rinse and repeat that, you can pull their creeps either onto your range creep or entirely away from the wave. Now, let's think about how that's going to pan out. If he also pulls aggro, you'll likely trade getting the range creeps denied, or you'll use your nukes on them and both get the CS. You'll then both have the remaining wave following you, and you can either pull it into tower, or, the much better option, you can drag it to the side like this. Meet it with your next wave, and continue to spam pull aggro and last hit until you can delay the wave enough to meet it back on your hill, which is where you want it to be. So that sounds pretty good. Why not just do that all the time? Well, there's some things to keep in mind. Instead of pulling aggro away, they can pull your wave towards you, essentially re-meeting the waves and forcing you to take their creeps under tower, especially if they're stronger at fighting than you. This causes the wave to bounce back out and reset back on their hill, with you having taken a bunch of damage, which is not what you want. So how do you decide when and when not to do it? Well, first of all, most players, even top 500 players, will not respond properly to aggro, and there's a natural tendency to pull aggro themselves and split the lane. So when you do this, you're basically skill checking the enemy, saying, will you respond properly? So you can probably get away with it quite a bit. But say you're playing against Lee Sin Al Gaib, and he's going to respond properly. What then? Well, one of the biggest factors is how good are you at tanking creeps, and what spells do you have off cooldown. If you're level 1 Chad, like Tiny versus an OD, splitting the wave is kind of crap, because even though you're melee, you have insane damage. So fighting him for last hits is great. I mean, you try to split the wave, you're essentially offering them a draw on that wave. So if they accept, you've now wasted your potential. Compare that to a hero like Earth Spirit versus Viper. You are way weaker than him level 1. So taking an even trade is very, very bad. You also have a nuke, and he doesn't, and you're better at tanking creeps. So drawing aggro and getting it closer to your tower, so when you have to walk up for CS, you get punished less, is amazing. And if he splits it, you can nuke the range creep, and he can't. Plus, you're better at holding it on your hill for the next wave. And once the wave is on your hill, be very careful about pulling aggro. You're already in an amazing position where you can abuse tower armor and regen, and spacing the enemy is very easy. They also won't hit you as much on the way out. So maintaining that position, if you can, is a great option. Sometimes it's not possible, though, to hold it because the harass is too much, and you need to pull it into tower. In those cases, you want the wave to swing back and forth. You kill it as fast as possible under tower. That way, the following wave also goes under their tower, causing it to bounce back to you, rinsing and repeating. What you want to avoid is a situation where the lane bounces and they are strong enough to hold it on their hill, because now you're back in a sticky situation. Aggro and the crap related to it are a very complicated web of things, but understanding some of the factors that go into it and how things can play out will help you see these opportunities quicker as you practice more. And last but not least, we've got some sneaky tips and tricks that aren't the fundamental basis for laning, but are nice add-ons. First is making sure you buy extra regen when you need it. Certain matchups like Ember, Void Spirit, or Monkey King versus Quap, you will need a second set of tangos most likely. Or some other matchups you might need to bring a salve if you mess up. Being efficient with your chicken and having it in use as often as possible will give you a big advantage compared to someone who isn't using it enough and wasting time. Also in the line of regen is when should I go to base to heal if I'm super low? Well, if your resources are a giga crap, like a couple hundred HP or 0 mana, it can be a very good option. More gold efficient than ferrying out a ton of regen. And the most common best time is when the wave is swinging and it's just bounced out of your tower. If you insta-run to base, you'll have time to TP back mid without losing any creeps. Losing 1 or 2 is also okay if you need the heal, but a full wave is rarely going to be worth the cost. Another big one is wave dragging. When and how do you find the windows to do the grand shenanigans and take a lane that's gotten unplayable into something chill? Look at this example of this and how powerful this can be. Malorine is drawing a lane, for now, against Shadow Fiend Pango. This is game 5 of TI Finals. Now, this is a lane that gets way harder as time passes, and if you start getting triple raised by level 3 raises, it becomes a big problem. So he pulls this wave, and then look how he plays this. He pulls it back here. He denies an entire wave. Shadow Fiend can't come here, because if Disruptor TPs, he's just dead. So he just has to jungle in a lane that he should be stomping Pangolier. He's not even laning. He gets a full wave denied. Malorine drags the next wave behind, holds it, and then now he denies another wave. The Shadow Fiend has missed 2 full waves, and then he does it again. Now, this one he can't really deal with, so it dies, and now he's back to laning again. But holy crap, Shadow Fiend missed 2 full entire waves. This crap is very, very powerful. The Shadow Fiend farms kind of fast in jungle, but Pangolier's top net worth. He's bing chilling. The first window you have to do it around is around the 2-minute mark. Waves meet at 2:15 roughly, so if people run for the runes slightly late, they won't make it back in time to meet your wave with theirs. So you can run into tower if need be, and take the wave and run it behind your tower to meet your next wave. You can then draw aggro on an enemy hero, as works globally, and pull it onto your range creep, denying a full wave potentially, and really owning them. If they chase you behind the tower, you can also tell your support to TP and the guy will just die and his game is just completely ruined. The next best opportunity is if the wave is swinging back and forth, and instead of letting it swing, you run past the wave when it's under their tower, and take their wave from between their tier 1 and tier 2 and run with it, or kill it in a camp. Now, if they respond properly, they can take your wave and chase you with it, and it gets really, really clowny, and it's hard to actually get back to your side of the map, but you can TP out worst case, or just keep running and waste their time. But it's still not bad compared to laning versus a level 4 Huskar. Killing it in a camp is by far the best of these though, especially on a hero like Primal. Heroes like Ember, Pango, Shaker, etc. can do it too with enough levels, which allows you to rinse and repeat and keep dragging waves behind those towers and being a massive pain in their butt, avoiding laning as much as possible. Against Huskar in particular, this can be a very good option as lanes post level 4 are practically impossible. And we've got two little spicy ones for the road. One of those is model blocking. It's an insanely obnoxious mechanic that will really piss off the enemy. If there's situations where a creep is coming up on being last hit and tanking some hits is not a problem for you, you can stand right on top of the creep, and if you have a fat hero, it becomes very difficult to actually click the right hero, especially on Primal or Brood, or in side lanes on Naga carry. It's not the end of the world, but it can make the enemy miss CS or secure some CS for you, and it will also piss them off like crazy and make worse decisions. Last but not least is some real sneaky tech versus heroes that have way more damage than you. If you're just Tiny, Earthshaker, or some other idiotic annoying hero like this, with 1 billion damage, this is what you do. You make 2 creeps get low at the same time, one of yours and one of theirs. Then because those heroes have such bad animations, they can't kill both. So either you both deny, or you both CS. This means they can't abuse their big damage, and they're forced to keep trading with you. In the meantime, you can smack them and do whatever else you want, but monitoring the creep HP and making them get low at the same time is some real secret tech. So use it wisely. And with that, I will bid you adieu. I'll be working Blast Lamp for the next 2 weeks, so there won't be a video during that time. I'm trying to prioritize quality over quantity and not force out something that isn't ready or as good as the other videos. But I hope you enjoyed this, and I shall see you in a few weeks. Have a good one. Bye-bye.